welcome back to the Boatnik. Today I'm going to do a few little projects on this Com-Pac 16 that I just recently picked up. It's not in too bad a shape. A couple of things I've already done. I quickly did just a light pressure washing on it to get some of the worst of the crud off of it. It truly is amazing what just a quick light pressure washing will do. That's that same boat. I had a second-hand tiller from another boat where I had put a new one on. This one had partially delaminated. Took it apart and glued it back together with epoxy, and it's just got one coat of varnish on it. I'll put several more coats of varnish on it, but I just wanted to get it on the boat because I'm going to see if I can't maybe take it sailing, see what I've got. Got the tiller doctored up and sanded out and epoxy resin coated, saturated, sanded out again, de-waxed, and first coat of varnish on it using exterior spar varnish. Like I said, that still needs at least 3 or 4 more coats of varnish on it. Let's see what else I've done. On the inside, I have just did a quick scraping of all the loose paint that was flaking off on the interior. Got all that vacuumed out. Of course, I've got the inside dried out. Got all the water out of it that was in it. Let's see. The halyards were too short, and I put a new main halyard on, and I used the old main halyard and put it on as the jib halyard, and that makes it long enough, although I do need to wash it and put it through the washing machine and use some fabric softener to kind of soften it back up again. It's not rotten or anything like that, but they get kind of stiff when they get older and dirty. So I've got to do that. But right now I'm getting ready to drill in. I want to be able to get my anchor rod and chain, down through the bow deck up there at the bow, so I can keep that handy, but also keep the weight to the front. So I'm going to install this. This is a second-hand one. This one's one that I salvaged off of another boat, but I'm going to put that on at least temporarily up in the front there for my anchor rod, and a couple of other things. See if I can get it a little bit closer here. The turning blocks up there on the side of the mast for the halyards, they are too high, and also they're not at the appropriate angle, for coming back down to these cleats here. I'm assuming that a previous owner at some point in time has added those, but they need to be at a different angle, and they need to be much lower. And actually, I will put cleats back up there where they are now, where there were originally cleats, because cleats on the side of the mast, or even with those turning blocks, they're still pretty needed. So I'm going to put cleats back up there. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to just start with this hose pipe, or whatever you call this deal here, and go from there. So this is what would have been on the boat if it had one from Com-Pac. They used one similar to this, or if not the same thing here. I'm going to just put it right in here to the side a little bit here, and it will be completely in the non-skid area. I think somewhere about like that right there. And I'm just using a 2-inch hole saw here to drill the hole. Okay. That deck there is cored with, it's not cored with wood, it's cored with, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically a type of a structural foam. And it's probably 7/16 inch thick, maybe just shy of that. Just trying to get it kind of lined up. Looks like it's square to the center line of the boat. Give me some pilot holes for my screws. They run better when you plug them in. I'm going to bed this with life caulk, just because that's what I happen to have in my caulking gun right this minute, but also because this is a used one and a lot of the chrome is worn off of it, which I think is made out of cast bronze, I think, chromed. But anyway, I know that I'll at some point in time may be changing that, so I don't want to put anything like 5200 on it or anything like that. Anyway, I'm going to bed that in, use stainless steel screws, and then that'll give me a convenient place to store and retrieve my anchor rod. You may notice here I've got a little, I think they call it a pendant to raise my jib sail just a little bit. It gets the foot of the jib sail up above the turnbuckle there. And then this little block right here is just for a downhaul, which can run through that block and then back to the base foot of the mast or wherever to act as a downhaul, just a little turn-in block there for the downhaul. The sails that I got with this boat appear to be in pretty good condition. Not very old, I don't think. So that's kind of a good thing. Yeah, I think I will go get some denatured alcohol or some acetone or something and wipe this down good to clean that a little bit better before I bed it. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to go get something to do that with. I'll just feed my anchor rod through, and if you just feed it through and leave it alone, it don't hardly ever tangle up. Just let it pile up however it piles up and don't touch it. You may not be able to tell here, but these turning blocks are put so that the line has to come directly straight back, which is fine for when you're raising or lowering your sails, but it puts a bind on the sharp metal shoulder when you bring it over here to cleat it off, so you're gonna have a wear point there really bad in your halyard. Plus, if you need to tighten after your sails are up and you've already cleated off over here, the angle's just not right. And you notice how high it is too. It's really high. It needs to be on down like somewhere like in here, at least in my opinion it does. And how I've always done them before, and I've always liked the way I've done them before. So that's what I'm gonna do next, is just take these off and try to relocate them, and then I'll try to scrounge up some cleats and put back on the mast. I like having cleats on the mast, whether you have these turning blocks or not. But there you can see. You can see how high that is, you know, way up here to go down to that cleat. And I think it just needs to be, you know, more like, you know, on down into here. You just want to clear all your, you know, your hatch and that kind of thing. Other than that, there's no reason to be any higher than that. And it needs to be turned around on the mast a bit so that the angle is right to head toward the cleat, and they're just not. Anyway, like I said, I'm just trying to do a few little projects here. I'm not trying to do anything major. I just want to take it to the lake and go sailing with it and see how it does. See what else I might need to do to it. Now I will reuse as many of those holes as I can, most likely two, for putting a cleat back there. And the rest of those holes I'll put a pop rivet in, aluminum pop rivet in. So they're going to need to be around about that far around. There's a line in the mast from when it was manufactured. There's like a little detent line in it that gives you like a center line, or at least a straight line. And I'm going the edge of my stainless. I'm just lining up with that, and that'll put the screws beyond it. And that's where I usually put them, and that seems to be about right as far as I'm concerned, angle-wise. And that should be about the right height, I think, right there. Just doing some random stuff in here this morning. I put in a new fire extinguisher back there on that bulkhead up there toward the bow. And I've got a whistle in there for the noise-making device. And I just temporarily just threw some junk in here, some hardware and some life jackets and stuff. I'll store those later whenever I'm down in there. Put the carpet back in down here. Got a little portable head down here put in. And I've just a little 12 volt, small 12 volt battery there where I was testing out electrical. Running lights work. Navigation lights. Anchor light. Radio works. Although I've got to put new speakers on it. Stereo system. Got my anchor rod and all up there. And those lead shot bean bags up there for a little bit extra weight on the bow, since I don't have a battery up there right now. And I'm getting ready to install this little whisker pole hook connection here on the mast, on the front side of the mast. I think I've got where I want to put it at, I think. So I'm going to drill a couple of holes and rivet that on.